It's reporting false narratives. It's not being objective. And it's,
Good evening, everyone.
And it doesn't remain neutral.
I came to bring about a bit of
sides.
Evening cheer.
It takes sides. It has favorites.
So I hope
it shows favoritism.
this extended weekend. I mean, I don't know whether we don't necessarily all celebrate these so-called holidays or holy days.
The white
I hope everybody enjoyed that extra day off.
So they're not wrong
for this this past week or this week.
Black media don't have an agenda.
But
likes.
One of the most popular stories in the concept known as entertainment. We always tend to have a problem. I guess the African American, the black person, the Negro folk, we tend to have a problem with the concept known as entertainment. We often put too much passion and enthusiasm in it, as if there is something that is in which that we can economically capitalize off of, not even necessarily economically capitalize off of. I guess maybe in the area, we were trying to have a competition of morality, principles.
He didn't take down
who has the most game or whatever about a certain situation. But the story that prevailed, I guess it started pretty much Sunday night for me, because that's when I discovered what had happened. Monique, I saw a clip of Monique on stage, and she had pretty much what would be conventionally known as going in. She went in on a comedian known as DL Hughley. He's a political activist for the Democratic Party. He promotes a lot of the good neoliberal principles and things of that nature. But not to make this too political. So the thing happened was that there was a issue between who was supposed to have been the closing act of a particular concert or event of something of that nature. So it came down to it that this clip was Monique. I imagine that she must have been on there second, and she was saying that, and she was going off on the fact that she went. It had to come down to the last minute. It had to come down to the last moments of the closing act, between the closing act and the next to closing act, who was not going to close. So from the perception I got, or what I got communicated from Monique, was that DL had pitched he had pitched a bitch because he said that I guess he felt as if he believed he had the opinion that he should have been the headliner. And that he would be the closing talent, because the closing talent is something that shows the more superior, more accomplished artist. So, Monique is going off in regards to this because she says, I have a signed contract, and this is the way I'm supposed to go. I have my 30-year stature. Do not close for people. I'm not a lead opening act for anyone. And by that principle, you're like, okay, well, there's a ticket with DL Hughley and Monique. But Monique has to perform before DL Hughley. But, a lot of people don't know, because they just recognize Monique's talent from where she comes on and has to basically address something that has been done to her. It's not, they want to make it appear as if she's the difficult one. But most of the times when she gets to the point where it's something that's up in the media sphere, it's because she's responding to something that was said or something that was done to her. So she has this signed contract, and she goes off, she went off on DL on stage for from what I've seen, about 12 minutes. And she made valid points. If you're a closing act for the comedy tour that you were on, and if you were an opening act for the comedy tour that you were on, and I'm a closing act for the comedy tour I was on, just by the judge of talent in comedy. You can't necessarily, it's not like NBA or WNBA where you can pretty much compare, okay, with these women comedians, so they, it's not going to be the same type of creativity or talent that it would be with a with a group of male comedians. Because you have tickets, you have tours where there's a mixture of male and female comedians, and some of the male comedians get smacked by the female comedian because the female comedian is superior, and vice versa. But yeah. So Monique has her paperwork, and she said, Mr. Hughley, she said to Mr. Hughley she wants to see his contract. Because she has a signed contract. And of course she has a contract from her company, like generally if you're a contractor, because Monique is a contractor, she's a talent, she's a boss. They say, well, that's her hub and company. I don't understand it. This is one thing I want to make sure I want to make before to make sure I wanted to make. It's odd to me though. It was odd to me. It's like, well, sometimes I'm a traditional black man in America, I had a granddaddy, I had a father, I had uncles and things like that. So I was able to benefit from the direction of masculinity. And it may be traditional masculinity, it may be referred to by some of this modern era as toxic. But that it's not, hey, I just do my best not to mistreat nobody. You know what I'm saying? I'm just me. So it's like, well, Monique has her paperwork, and what DL Hughley does, and it was really, because really they say, well, if you know that she's difficult and this, that, and the third, and you're supposed to be the morally superior individual, you're this guy, you're this influential activist comedian. I don't know what level of Dollar Tree Dollar Tree Dick Gregory you claim yourself to be. You come out and say, well, she's difficult to work with and this, that, and the third, and you want to blame everybody for your problems. See what it is like, okay, he said, and then he threw up the precious you're precious in your autobiography. See that? I mean, she cut at him. I don't know, and maybe some of this newer generation of males, they're like, okay, well, she said this at me. I'm accustomed the B word out, cuss the bride out, because I demand my respect. But once we come to a more seasoned stage of consciousness, we understand that even in the cussing out of that woman or that female or whomever, the broad who might have came at you sideways, if you allow yourself to be seen in that image, it only belittles you. It shows less of your class as a gentleman. But I don't mean to blabber on about it. But the thing about it, I was just tripping out the fact it seems as if I say things that they might call me what's the word, a misogynoir. It's not misogyny for the black people. It's just misogynoir. They call it misogynoir because I may see things that may be of a traditional upbringing, but it's that's a slippery slope. So it's like, well, what I saw DL do in its first response to her was, it was typical DL fare, and if you can't tell by now, I used to like DL Hughley on Comedy View because he did good snaps from, as an opening act and so on and so forth, and the Kings of Comedy, the DL Hughley show, that was entertaining. That comedy show that he had with the series, with the family series, that was an entertaining show. But it just seems as if once he got affiliated with the media, with the news media, I guess it's it's a different type of money when you get inside those news media platforms where you can get in front of a different form of audience as opposed to a smoky nightclub performing your comedy act. I really had hoped, because really, when I say that he didn't have to come at her and speak to her at all he had to do was show his paperwork. I'm sorry, Miss Ma'am, there may have been a miscommunication, but this is what I have, and it didn't even have to be no Instagram woo skiffy. They have context to each other. They have degrees of separation, and it's like, well, okay, just cause you don't see Monique all in your face. Monique constantly tours. Monique has a net worth between I think I saw it was like somewhere between 12 and 14 million dollars in DL. He has somewhere between 10 and 12 or 10 million. Basically, her Monique's net worth is more than DL. So it's like, well, when you have people that say, well, Monique's supposed to be a peon cause DL blah blah blah, that's unfair as well. But I don't mean to go off too much into a tangent on it. It's just, I guess for the more practical sense, there'll always be what they say, conventionally say, as a battle of the sexes per se. There'll always be some form of contention between the black male and the black female, because from what I heard, it's the Beauty and the Beast type of scenario, or maybe the Samson and Delilah type of circumstance where the beast must be conquered. The beast must be utilized by the woman. See, and I was going to throw this one up because this comes to mind. Let's say, for example, Kim Kardashian and Pete Davidson. Pete Davidson is like an apparatus. So an attachment or what's the word? Accessory for Kim Kardashian post her after her relationship or marriage or romantic form of bonding between Kanye West. So she a certain level, and I mean, I don't want to promote the fact that there's some woman who might be more financially successful than the male that they're with, and that the male should feel insecure, because that's not what this is about. This is what I'm saying is that how Pete is being used as her beast. She's she did that thing. Evidently she must have done that thing to him, he no longer works for Saturday Night Live, and so basically he got the kids tattooed on him. So I guess that's for when he's babysitting. He look down and he can look at the list and make sure that he has all of them. I went off the rails, man, but as of this point, I've not seen a signed contract, a contract for DL Hughley. And I really feel, and it really upsets me when, DL Hughley has his bully pulpit as his radio station, and he gets on there and he may say a whole lot of beautiful things. My cousin sent me a clip. I didn't even push play on it. I asked her, is he showing a signed contract? Because if there's no signed contract, then all Mr. Hughley is doing is talking, entertaining, performing. We'll see, though. I got to go on about my day. It's the end of the long weekend, so I got to get to work. I hope y'all have a great day. Peace and love.
Talk about shit that we all know.